On December 9th, 2025, I will call this meeting of the Webster School Committee to order and ask that we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded, both video and audio, and it will be posted on the district website. The first item on the agenda is the discussion and approval of the minutes from the November 18th, 2025 meeting. Is there any discussion around those minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Desiree, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. And the next item on the agenda is the discussion and approval of the executive session minutes, also from November 18th, 2025. Any discussion around those minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Desiree, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. And the next item on our agenda is the superintendent's report. Good evening, Mrs. Perangeli.
Good evening. Is our surprise here?
It looks like
Oh.
it.
I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. This evening, I figured we would kick the meeting off with a nice surprise from our choral department at the high school. And I believe they are waiting outside the room. So let me get them, see if they're ready. You're all set whenever you're ready. This is our annual treat to start the holiday season off. Yes. Come on in, please. Go right in front. Welcome. Hi. How are you?
Happy to have you here.
This is the a cappella group. And we're going to just give you a little treat of what you'll be seeing at the winter concert on Thursday, December 18th in the new auditorium, which is beautiful.
Yes.
Fireplaces burning bright, shining all on me. See the presents underneath the good old Christmas tree. And wait all night till Santa comes to wake me from my dreams. Oh, why that's Christmas to me. I see the children play outside like angels in the snow. Mom and Daddy share a kiss under the mistletoe. And cherish all these simple things wherever we may be. Oh, why that's Christmas to me. I've got this Christmas song in my heart. Candles glowing, oh, all the stockings by the Christmas tree. Oh, why that's Christmas to me. Why that's Christmas to me. I listen for the thud of reindeer walking on the roof. As I fall asleep to lullabies, the morning's coming soon. The only gift I'll ever need is the joy of family. Oh, why that's Christmas to me. This Christmas song in my heart. Candles glowing, oh, all the stockings by the Christmas tree. Oh, why that's Christmas to me. Why Christmas to me. Christmas to me. A Christmas song in my heart. I've got the candles glowing in the dark. And oh, years to come will always know one thing. That's the love that Christmas can bring. Why? 'Cause that's Christmas to me.
Thank you.
While helping out there, I just wanted to recognize Louis Shevchuk as the person that made it.
Yay, congratulations, Louis. Thank you, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for being here, and if anybody does,
Thank you very much.
that's wonderful. We look forward to seeing you. Thank you. That certainly is the best way to start a meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Well, if that doesn't put a smile on your face, right? That's a great way to start the meeting and to start our holiday season. So I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. We will get started with the report. Under personnel, there are no retirements at this time. As you can see, we've been very busy hiring for the past week or two. I have some new hires that I'd like to announce. I have Jocelyn Delgado, an adjustment counselor at Webster Middle School, Hannah Lewis, an ABA at Park Avenue, Gina Ducat, paraprofessional at Park Ave, Ray Medeiros, IT at Park Avenue, Tina Ye Chauvin, an ABA at Park Ave Elementary, Erin Freer, an ABA at Park Ave, Alexandra Maldonado, a para at Webster Middle School, and Julia Bastos, a para at Webster Middle School. As you can see, the two schools have been very busy hiring, and we've had them all in, and we're excited to get them on board. We have actually a couple more that we've had this week, so it looks like hopefully things are turning around, and we're starting to fill some positions, so I couldn't be more pleased about that. As you can see, we still have some vacancies below, but they are shrinking. We will continue to work and look at filling those positions. Are there any questions about personnel? No? All right. Next, moving on to management and operation. I'm not going to talk a lot tonight because I know we have a director of student support services here, but I just wanted to give you an update and give you kind of final showing as to where I'm at with policies. I think I can actually say I feel pretty good about where we're at or where I'm at in the process. I actually feel like I have a good understanding of what we're doing, where we're going, and hopefully we can slowly make our way through updating some of our policies. So for school committee purposes, what we've done is we've taken, this is just our summary for your knowledge and for my knowledge, and it's a system that we can track moving forward. So the whole goal was to say what's been reviewed quickly, how can we have a document that we can look at quickly that summarizes everything? When was it updated? When was it reviewed? What needs to be done? And a way for us to manage long after, because coming in, we don't really have a system in place. We haven't even had one document in place that's been updated. So what we've done is we've taken all of our books. We've had an online book. We've had a book here. We've had all of our policies electronically, some of them which haven't been placed. We compared all of them, and we made one final document. So now we have one complete document. That document is now being put into the website, so we are working on that. From that, we've also taken all of the policies and put them into one spot. And so what I'm doing now, as you can see, is we have the section, the policy, the name of the policy. If it's reviewed, that means I've looked at it and I've compared it to what MASC has. So there probably doesn't need to be any changes there. I put the date that I reviewed it and any notes. And I'm doing that one by one going through. I compare what's on the MASC website. I review it to what our policy is. And then I put the date that I reviewed it so we have a tracking. So if it's updated, I put the date that it's been I put it's updated and the date that it's been updated. And I'm doing that for all of them. If it's pending, it's something we're working on right now. You've probably seen one version of that. Once it's updated, I will update this. Anything that is marked 2003 is the original version. If it's something that I've gone through And I've seen I've looked at it in 2006. It needs updates. I know I need to go back to this one and bring this in a next form. So I've started to review it. That needs changes. So I need to pull that document, go back and make some edits to bring to you. So that'll be at a future meeting. So that way I'm not just sitting there waiting for the next one. As I have free time, I'm going through and reviewing. When I have my 5 or 10 minutes here, I'll take a few. I'll try and do a quick check and then note them here, and then as they change, I update them. So we've actually made some pretty good headway in looking at what needs to be reviewed. I've made it to C. So I will continue to do that and keep working my way. And as I've stated before, when we look at some of these policies and we make a change, the policy refers to 1 or 2 other policies. So I'm pulling that at the same time. So that way, when we're making a change and it's impacting others, we're doing it all at once. So it's other sections. So I feel pretty solid in the process and in the work. It doesn't seem as daunting anymore. It seemed very daunting at first. So we'll continue this process. We'll keep going through. You know, we're not going to finish this by the end of the year, but at least we have a process and a procedure in place that we'll continue to manage, we'll continue to monitor. And then I'm also taking the monthly updates that MASC puts out, because they do reviews monthly. They look at policies monthly. So I'll pull them also monthly and cross-check that. So then we'll have an ongoing process of what we're looking at. So I just wanted to give you an update of where we are with that. Something that has felt very big and something that I didn't think we could manage on our own in district has now turned into, I think, something that we can tackle and hopefully finish within, you know, another school year, I'm hoping. So, any questions on that?
Through the chair. I don't have a question, but a comment in that it's a tremendous amount of work.
Mm-hmm.
But down the road, it's going to be so much easier
Yep,
to have that at your fingertips.
absolutely.
Just be able to click and change something.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for all this work.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and thank you, because it's even easier for me now when a topic comes up or something that we have to say. I can quickly look here and say, oh, we have a policy. What's our policy? Quickly identify it, go to the book, and look things up. So I think it's going to make all of our lives a lot easier down the road, and it's actually a great process for me to go through. So I appreciate that. Okay, so moving on from that, and I know Ms. Contos will be talking about that. Our budget work, we are continuing at the district level. We had a DLT yesterday to talk about the budget process. So we are preparing multiple budgets for our discussion, and I know we'll be giving a quick little overview of that as we approach our heavy season come January when we present you our first budget. And then, in addition to management and operations, Ms. Contos, Ms. Nieves, and I continue to have planning meetings with our OPN for our second phase move. It's really important to make sure that the logistics are thoroughly reviewed for a smooth transition for our staff and students. So we continue to collect data. Ms. Contos has been actively on top of things in managing and aligning what we need to do. She does a great job with that, so I want to thank her for all of her work on the project. There is no way that I could have come close to doing this alone, and she has taken on a huge load of work with the project, so I just want to thank her for her efforts on that. Are there any questions on management and operations? Questions? No? Moving on. On Friday, 21st, I attended the Southern Worcester County Collaborative meeting. In your packet, you should see the agenda. I'm just going to start putting these in just so you can see the topics that we discuss at the meeting so you're aware. Further later on in the meeting, we have the presentation of the reports for you to see. But for now, this is just, this was the meeting on the 21st. This is our standard meeting. If you take away the annual reports, we typically look at do the minutes, we get an update on enrollment, staffing, personnel. Again, we are headed into budget season with the collaborative too, so those discussions are actively happening. And it's a busy time of year for everyone. And I was looking, the next one is the district leadership team was also looking at other assessment programs to be utilized across the district. Currently, we've been using iReady. It looks like we will be continuing to use iReady, but we are working with the curriculum office to finalize our information going forward. And then next, I was going to introduce our new student rep. Aiden Cruz has been unable to fulfill his commitment. He's busy, and so he has resigned from his position as student rep. So we have reached out to Eric Pivovacek, who will be the new student rep, who is excited to be on board and represent the student body at Bartlett High School. So he is looking forward. He was going to be here tonight, but there was a conflict, as you know, with the National Junior High meeting, thank you, ceremony that's happening at the middle school. So I apologize about the conflict in date. We really work hard to try and make sure we don't have meetings and events on the same night, and this one slipped through the cracks. But we will welcome Eric here at the next meeting. We look forward to hear from him, and he is excited to be a part of the committee. And then on Monday, December 1st, I also attended the CMC board meeting, and I included that in your packet also. Pretty much the same items that we had discussed at Central, the Southern Worcester County Collaborative. The Central Mass, we received a financial update. We had a discussion with, they introduced a new treasurer that we have on board. So that was exciting to be able to meet him, and I'm confident that he will do a great job for CMC. We also get a staffing and a program update, so that agenda is in your packet. And then moving on, I just added something tonight. I added an FAQ sheet for you in your packet. I'm sorry you didn't get it earlier. These were sent out after our meeting the other day. But on Wednesday, I attended a webinar where Secretary Tutwiler and DESE Commissioner Pedro Martinez discussed the new push for the graduation requirements that are coming down the road. In your packet, I put in an FAQ sheet for you. But what they did is, as you know, the Massachusetts Statewide Graduation Council released its interim report and there's nothing really for us to do. They did present these 7 areas of the overview of council of the graduation, of proposed graduation requirements. The 7 items are: 1, the program of study. They're going to recommend student complete a rigorous program of study aligned with the higher ed admissions requirements. They are recommending end of course assessments. So they're calling them, as you see, the acronym EOC. That's what it means, end of course assessments. It recommends that students participate in an end-of-course assessment connected to selected courses that are designed, administrated, and scored by students. They're also asking for a capstone project or portfolio. Number 4 is MyCap, Career and Academic Plan. Number 5 is the FAFSA or MASFA completion. Recommend student complete the FAFSA or to opt out of the requirement. They're looking for a financial literacy requirement, and they're looking at optional seals of distinction. So like the seal of biliteracy, they're looking for more seals for academics, maybe potentially CT career pathways, civics engagement, and things like that. The report that they reviewed was a high-level report. They are still working and looking, and will be holding more forums and with players down the road. They did put out an FAQ, which is what I wanted you to see, because there's a lot of questions that are going through the listservs with superintendents. They're going to be building on this. Some of the questions that I will read through this because I think it's important to note. When will these recommendations impact students? The implementation timeline will be determined through a broad-based stakeholder engagement. So they don't have a timeline right now. They are looking to implement it, but they said they want to be careful about going through the process. They want to make sure all voices are heard. So they didn't put a timeline on that on this yet. Will this cost districts money to implement? The Graduation Council will continue to meet and assess costs and state resources that may be needed to implement the recommendations. Do these recommendations require legislation? Some of these recommendations do require state legislation be filed. The administration is assessing the best way to approach implementation. Are these recommendations finalized? The interim report finalizes the framework for new high school graduation requirements in Massachusetts. There are details that still need to be worked out with the council, educators, parents, and stakeholders. These include design details to the end of course assessments, implementations, and timelines. Assessments that they spoke about. There was a lot of questions. Will there be both the 10th grade MCAS and an EOC at the same time? They said they intend to never take to have students never take the 10th grade MCAS and EOCs at the same time. The goal is to fade out the 10th grade of the end of course assessments. They state that there will be no one failure of a course that will prevent a student from getting a diploma. The next question is, will students need to pass EOCs in order to graduate? They state no, students will not be required to pass the EOCs to earn a diploma. Students will be required to meet the obligations laid out in the framework to graduate. EOCs will be more of a targeted approach to assessment than our current high school MCAS. And it says, what makes the proposed framework different from the current graduation requirements? Right now, Massachusetts lacks a uniform statewide standard for graduating high school. This framework will not only provide a uniform set of standards that each high school student and school district will need to follow in order to earn or award a diploma. It will also ensure that Massachusetts is the first state in the nation to offer a comprehensive statewide set of student-focused diploma requirements that are rigorous and engaging, aimed at providing students with a full and rich array of options for post-graduation. So as you can see, they're still in the early stages of this. There are a lot of questions that superintendents had about the requirements. When is it going to be implemented? They stated that they are going through this process. They're not going to rush it. They're going to take this time. They want to get it right. So they will be looking for, the council will be looking for more feedback as they hold these sessions throughout the state. Right now, there is nothing for us to do. We continue forward on the path that we have, but it does look like there will be requirements coming through that are dictated by the state, and of course assessments that we will need to manage at the high school level as students work towards their graduation requirements. So it's very high level right now. I will continue to bring information forward to the committee as we get it. I'm sure they will be sending more information out through the school year, but I just wanted to bring this to your attention. As you know, it's something that's been high on our radar since the MCAS has been voted out. So we knew things were coming. We knew the state was working on alternatives. We just didn't know what they were. And I think now we have some insight as to what they're looking at. Are there any questions about that? No. Okay, thank you. And then lastly, in my report, which I think I left part of my paper on my desk, on last week, on Thursday, December 4th and Friday, December 5th, we had our visiting NEAS team in for their initial review. On Thursday, the team had multiple meetings, which included meetings with students and staff. They also conducted observations of classrooms. Ms. Nieves was very pleased with the team that was here. They had very positive things to say about the high school. They were excited about the building project. They were thrilled to see the new section of the building. The chair had spent some time with me doing a quick one-on-one for about 15 minutes to talk about some of the positives that he saw across the district. He loved the engagement with the students. He loved the follow-through and the messaging that is happening across the district. He felt that everything that the school and the teachers were saying, we were speaking the same language here at central office, so he felt there was a real throughway. A lot of the comments were just continuing to do the work that we're doing. As always, they have grows that you can work on. Some of the high-level grows is to continue to work on our curriculum development. As you know, we've been working very hard at the HQIM and at the high school. Our three main tested subjects are science, which we just implemented Open SciEd. We have StudySync, our English program, and we do CPM Math, are all HQIM. But we offer many other courses for that. So to continue to update our maps and planning throughout the high school. So they give some recommendations. The report was drafted when they left. They had a pretty solid draft. They spend all day meeting on Thursday. They come back on Friday. They do have some final conversations. They do a lot of writing. Ms. Nieves is hoping to have a draft of the report before we leave on Christmas break. She will then have 10 days to respond if there's anything that she wants to point out. And then they send those recommendations forward, and we should have the clear final report by, I would say, March. And that sets us up for our full review, which will be happening in 2027. So this is the initial. We go through goals, we talk about things we're working on, and then they come out in 2 years. They'll come out in 2027 to see what have we done from now until then. So they left here feeling very excited to come back, knowing they'll come back and see a new building, a new environment, and they feel like we are really setting ourselves up for success. So that was good to hear. So I was very pleased with that. Are there any questions about that? Nope. And that concludes my report. I'm going to turn it over. I'm sorry, I have one more thing under other updates. I just wanted to turn it over to our Director of Student Support Services for her report. Ms. Hare?
Good evening, Ms. Hare.
Good evening. Thank you, Superintendent Perangeli, and welcome school committee to this evening's meeting. I'd like to share an update with Student Support Services, and I provided an update listing many different items, so I'm not going to read them to you, but share some insight to each of the items. The first one is a tiered focus monitoring. Just when we received approval of our corrective action plan, shortly afterwards, we get informed that we're going to be participating in a new tiered focus monitoring, which is not surprising. And come late January, we're going to have more information about what that will entail. We anticipate that the new IEP and process involving IEP compliance is going to be a major indicator that they'll be looking at, along with civil rights. Any questions on the tiered focus monitoring? Okay, the next one is a big one. It's an out-of-district placement update. So I'm going to start off with some interesting updates related to this year's move-outs, dropouts, graduates, and students that aged out. We have 6 students that moved out of the district, and we will no longer be fiscally responsible for them next year. 1 student dropped out who's pursuing a GED. We have 3 students graduating from out-of-district placements, which is really exciting, and 3 students aged out. So that's a total of 4. We have about leaving for various reasons, but it's not going to be offsetting the costs of some of the placements that we recently made. So one would think that 5 students that have been placed this year would be offset by the cost of 13 students that are leaving us fiscally and programmatically next year. And that's partly due to the extensive nature of the student needs. Of recently, starting at the start of the school year, we have placed 2 students out residentially. And those fees are fully funded by the district with some reimbursement through circuit breaker. The other 3 students, 2 are in the process of being placed out, are cost shares with DCF. One is a student, the third one is a student that's hospitalized, and the hospital placement has determined that he's no longer suitable for that environment. And because he's DCF involved, it'll be a cost share. So I just wanted to share like what happens when DCF follows their process. So essentially, they go through like their version of a least restrictive environment, which means they try foster homes, they try intensive group homes, and when that doesn't work, they go through residential educational placements. Some of those placements have a fee for the educational program, while others don't. When there's a fee for the educational program, the school district follows suit and they pick up the educational costs, but when it is a program that doesn't split the prices, it becomes a 50-50 cost share. So that's kind of where we stand with 5 residential placements. 2 were district-wide and 3 are DCF involved. Does anybody have questions on that piece?
Sarah, I just have a question actually regarding the district's responsibility for residential placements. Can you give us just a layperson's explanation on how that works?
Certainly. It's a very long process, and it is a process that's taken very seriously, and it's based on least restrictive environment. So the 2 cases are very different, but I will give you like an overview. When a student has participated in district and then that was needing a higher level of care, then they would go out of district. When they go out of district, you start off at a public out-of-district setting. If that isn't restrictive enough, then you would go private. Once you go private, there's really no other option to start considering maybe some care inside the home. But what really is happening with these cases like this is the students are not able to generalize the skills in the home, and there becomes a significant safety risk that can't be provided by us as a school agency by providing maybe like an ABA support person after school hours. So we conduct various assessments in school, and then it leads to that, we conduct a home assessment, and then we meet as a team and we make the determination. Typically, it is a very significant safety risk that the student's not able to successfully be at home.
Thank you.
Okay. So moving on to legally involved cases. Last school year, we had 7 active legal cases with 9 that we were monitoring. So when we have a legal case, that is a case where our legal team is attending team meetings because the families have, for whatever reason, and it could be through, I could give you some of the channels, they have hired private pay attorneys, or if they're DCF involved, there could be a DCF assigned attorney through a state agency. Also, some state agencies go through third parties, and those third parties have a line item, and the line item suggests advocacy. And advocacy means that the state agencies go through a third party, hire an advocate, and then if they so deem necessary, they will hire a lawyer to represent the families, which is very, very complicated. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a contentious situation. It's just it's kind of like the new state of how things are operating. So those legal cases mean that there is a lawyer present, an attorney present at a team meeting, and when that is the case, the district seeks representation from our attorney as well. On a very rare occasion, depending on the simplicity of the nature, we'll be advised whether or not we need an attorney, but that's not the case. We monitored 9 cases last year, which could mean something as simple as an attorney did a record request for a student and it just didn't go anywhere. So we just had it on our radar to make sure if an attorney was present at a team meeting that we weren't caught off guard. So I looked into this year's legal involvement. It's very similar. We're trending about 8 legal cases that are active and 8 that are monitoring. Some have fell off and have just, been resolved. Any questions regarding legal cases in the district? Okay. So when we last met, I talked about AAC devices with the speech and language department, and we have made some headway because speech and language evaluations for AAC devices are about 5 times the cost of the AAC devices. So I'm pleased to announce that we have some documentation related to family responsibility, how we collect data internally for insurance-funded devices, and how we could assist the students with having the devices across settings. So we've come a very long way. We've had our speech and language pathologist review the document, our technical director review the documents. We are going to be exploring these AAC devices are the ones that are very, I wouldn't say typical, but it's like, do you need an iPad? Does the iPad require specialized software? Do you need a case to protect it? Do you need like a strap? Those things are very obvious. The ones that are a little bit more challenging for specialized equipment, such as eye gaze equipment, we're still working on that. But for cases that could have cost the district upwards of $1,600 for evaluation, we prefer to buy the $350 device. So that's a little bit of a cost saving for the district. Any questions? Okay. Another project that we're working on is protocols for additional adult support. So as you are aware, a good portion of the budget is for ABAs and IAs. And we want to make sure that the students are getting the supports that they need. So we put together a comprehensive team of special educators ranging from BCBAs, teachers, speech and language pathologists, and building and district administration. And we are collecting data around what it means to have a one-to-one, what is its purpose, how do we know when a student needs it. So we're hearing from all these different professionals to come up with protocols. So where we stand right now is we had a major brainstorming session with that full team of professionals. We're going to narrow it down to our behavior specialists, our BCBAs. We're going to be reviewing the data, and then together we're going to propose guidelines based on the feedback, and then we're going to go back to the team, and this may go back and forth until we develop some entrance and exit criteria for adult support, which I think is going to be very valuable to our staff and families to just be all on the same page when it comes to how do we determine who needs this extra adult support, and when do we know when they no longer need it. Any questions on that? Okay. Preschool program development. With the onset of the new build, there's going to be new classrooms, and this is a great time to develop programming. So we're going to come to the table with anywhere between 3 to 4 different models that we could choose from to determine how we're going to serve our increasing population of special ed students. We know there is a desire for a full-time program, but the guidelines for preschool are super strict. And if you have a substantially separate classroom, there's no way about it. The maximum number of special ed students you could have in that classroom is 9. And for integrated classrooms, it's 8 typical students and 7 students that have an IEP, and those numbers are really restrictive to our growing population and our space. So we're going to come up with some creative ideas on how we can maximize our staff and our students with our population of students. Any questions on preschool? So more to come on that one. We recently developed a team meeting parent survey. What's exciting about that is we were able to share our tool with our CPAC, and they were able to give some feedback. We have had 2 responses, and it's so nice to see that both families are 100% satisfied. We got perfect score and everything. So hopefully we continue with that trend. So that was really, really nice. We're 2 for 2. Okay, and then we are trying to create a very efficient student support services department and using the existing tools that we already have, which is Power School Special Programs. We received 2 training sessions in which we are able to do things that we were doing manually that were taking a very long time. So I'm pleased to say if anybody in this room were to ask how many students have IEPs, I could tell you, and by the press of the button, and I could take like less than a minute to tell you how many students now have autism or a specific learning disability. I'm able to tell instantly how many students are on each provider's caseload. So we've made a lot of progress. So those, in fact, there's a couple of other things such as like, I know how many students are on special ed transportation, who have an AAC device. So all these automated things are making us more efficient. So we could, take on the new work of the new climate of special education, which is definitely very challenging. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hare. Any questions or comments from the committee? Clearly, lots going on in special education, and it's helpful for us to understand, with special education being something that can be a significant cost to the district, it's helpful to understand a little bit about what those costs are and how kids are benefiting from them. So thank you for sharing that. And it's always helpful to know, when you were talking about the AAC devices, that there's that thoughtful process that goes into making sure that students have what they need, but they have no more than what they need, because the goal obviously being that we are augmenting communication. So well done there. Thanks for all your updates.
Now that concludes my report.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you both. Mrs. Perangeli, the progress on the policies is really significant.
Thank you.
So commendable work, really, because I think it's, or I believe that it must have been something that would have been pretty overwhelming to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And just chunking it up and tackling it one policy at a time
That's it.
seems to be working. So
Yep,
great.
we'll get there.
And very exciting about all the hires also.
Yes.
We had a lot of vacancies with our paraeducators, and we're certainly making a lot of progress there in our ABAs and that kind of thing. So
Absolutely. So I hope to have a few more to bring to you at the next meeting. And I don't know what's going on, but it seems like we're attracting more staff. So I hope that keeps coming. So we look forward.
great news. And be interesting to see with the implementation of some of that training that's happening for people at the beginning of their employment with us, whether that helps us with retention as well.
Absolutely.
No other questions or comments? All right. Well, once again, thank you.
Thank you.
And the next item on the agenda is our business manager report. Good evening, Mrs. Contos.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to get started with the renovation project and give you some updates on progress. All the interior walls are fully framed now. Drywall installation is nearing completion. It's nearly complete on the second floor, and they're continuing to make solid progress on the first floor. The steel final inspections took place, and now the team is moving forward with the completion of work that they need to do with our mechanical, engineering, and plumbing systems. So that's really exciting. Piggybacking on what the superintendent said, as we work on some of the move activities, the teams have been actively doing all of their inventory planning. We've been meeting with the mover so that we can assess what that work effort looks like and what the sequencing will look like. Additionally, we're working closely with the science teachers. Their move is far more significant than other areas. And we are also working with an outside third party that's going to assist them with the chemical storage. As we move into phase 3, that will be a full inventory of all the chemicals, determining what we're going to store, how we're going to store it, and if there's anything that needs to be disposed of. We're hoping to have that completed over Christmas break. So making good progress on that front. We did just recently learn from our OPM that the schedule is at risk. They had contemplated some accelerated schedules, but as we're hearing, that may not be feasible. So this is still continuing to unfold. I don't have the details of what this means when we say it's at risk. If this accelerated schedule is not going to make it, is it moving to April what's this impact at this point, but I wanted to give you a heads up that that's what we're hearing at this point, and we should know more the next time we meet in terms of whether or not February is going to be feasible, or if this is going to move to April or beyond that. So more to come. I don't have all of the reasoning behind it. I can only speculate at this point that it's related to some of the unforeseen conditions and some of the change orders that have happened, but more will come as this unfolds and the OPM digs in deeper on it. Any questions? Moving on to some other updates. The superintendent gave you some updates, but on fiscal year 27 budget planning, we've been at the planning starting in October. The departments all begin their activities through the month of October, working with their teams, identifying what those needs are, so that then they can submit in all of those needs to us so that we can compile what the overall department needs look like. So the approach that we're obviously taking is before we load in those needs and those requests, we first start with looking at where we landed with all our contract settlements, making sure that we do the appropriate grid changes based on those negotiations, as well as making the appropriate step changes, lane changes, and any other contractual requirements that we have. And that those are accounted for within the budget, and then we start layering on those needs. We did just meet recently. We'll be back together before break to revisit it. We have a bunch of action items. Everyone's taking a hard look at this, making sure that we have everything covered so that we're well-positioned to present our first preliminary budget to you on January 13th. The governor's budget comes out the third Wednesday of January, so it looks like we'll have the governor's budget before we meet for the second time in January. So we might be pivoting really quickly when that comes out to see what kind of adjustments we may make. It all depends on what we learned from the governor's release on their first budget. And then the other budgetary item is the capital planning budget. It was originally, the initial list was originally planned for October, but they moved that out to December 18th. What I'll be doing is submitting in just an initial list. The town accountant knows that we need a little bit more time to do estimating on some of this, which we can't get done during the same time frame. So we'll be submitting that capital budget to you either the second meeting in January or the first meeting in February for your review. Lots of work underway, and we look forward to those discussions. They're going to be tough. On the financial front, the town auditor, Roselli Clark and Associates, completed the annual basic financial statement audit for year ending June 30th, 2025. You do have that audit report as well as the required communication letter. Good news is overall, the financial statements reviewed, there were no findings or anything whatsoever. Only thing mentioned is some informational items that they're pointing out for us to take a look at. There were 3 of them. First one's network security. This is a routine and common one that the auditors are keeping in many of the town audits, primarily because cyber criminals are prevalent, and through many phishing attempts, that can be very costly to towns. So really, there was a big push on making sure that we're keeping our antivirus software and malware software updated, as well as taking a focus on employee training. As you know, we are rolling out multi-factor authentication. That's one way that is helping us to solidify our security across the district through that. And I've already seen so far with some of the implementation of that, some less phishing attempts than we typically see, which is really promising. The other item that came up is inactive revolving accounts. The town accountant already has a process whereby all of the revolving accounts that haven't had a lot of activity over time, he's constantly reviewing them and closing them when there's been no activity. So that is a process and a system that's in place. The third item is one item related to the school, and that has to do with excess school lunch balances. The requirement and the regulation for school lunch program is that your surplus cannot exceed 3 months of your average expenditures. And at this point in time, our surplus is at 12 months of our average expenditures. This is not uncommon. This is an outcome from the COVID-19 pandemic and the awards that were made during that time frame. Kelsey Sanders, our food services director, has been aware of this, and she's been working on a plan to remediate this. One of the things that we're doing is looking at equipment at the other schools and looking at the state of that equipment and whether or not it's ready for upgrades at this point, particularly at Webster Middle School, because that is the oldest school in the district. So she's been doing reviews of all the equipment to make sure that we can start taking down that surplus. So she is working on a plan, and we'll report back to you on that. Any questions? Felt like I had a lot more to say than that, and it went by faster.
That's okay, I took longer than I
Okay.
thought.
That's it.
For your update. Any questions or comments from the committee? Well, once again, thank you, Mrs. Contos. I'm looking forward to hearing more about particularly the building project and the scheduling there. I know we have been going strong on schedule up to this point, so I hope that trend.
Yeah, and I think the one thing I'll add is certainly after our experience with Phase 1 and the push to get in, I wouldn't want to see this rushed and an accelerated schedule put us in a situation where we open the building and things aren't fully functional. We really want to be in a situation where we open it and, we're not dealing with significant punch lists and outstanding items just to meet a date. So I think most importantly is, can they make it, and can they do it in an accelerated schedule that's reasonable and acceptable? And so I don't think we'd be pushing as hard as we were pushing last time based on our experience.
That's prudent. Thanks for that perspective. All right. Well, once again, thank you. And the next item on the agenda is our principal report. And joining us this evening from Park Avenue Elementary is Miss Amy Poliafico. Good evening.
Good evening. All right, so I have 4 general topics to talk about this evening. First is curriculum and instruction. So we continue to offer optional professional development for the teachers. It's offered both in the mornings and the afternoons. Our assistant principal, Jess Ahutsky, offers that for teachers, so it's really encouraging to see them choosing to stay and participate. Some of the most recent PDs she's offered is quality questioning planning sessions, which goes right in line with our instructional priority, as well as gradual release and intentional scaffolds. So we've had a good number of teachers opt into those. When we return in January, it will be testing season quite a bit. Your benchmark assessments, foundational reading assessments, as well as iReady in math and reading. We will also be administering access for our English language learners, K to 4, so they all take that, and that's pretty much the whole month of January. They have, I know you've heard of it before, they have 4 separate tests in speaking, writing, listening, and reading. So they have a good number of assessments to take for access to assess their English language acquisition. Moving on to our events, we had quite a few events in November and already in December. We welcomed Worcester Academy again. This is, I think, their 3rd year coming to do snippets of their productions for us. This year it was Music Man. We also welcomed the library, partnered with the library. They came and did a read aloud for our kindergarten class on the day the crayons quit. And Mr. Ty, the children's librarian, was in one of the crayon costumes. We had green and red crayon come and visit our kindergartners, which they loved. Our PTO put on Book Bingo, which is an annual event, always well-attended and fun. We also had the district attorney's office present. They came and did a presentation for grades 3 and 4 on online safety and protecting yourself and making good choices online. We had our conferences on November 20th. We now have a half day on November 20th, so we use the second half of the day and the evening for conferences on that night. And November is always Girls on the Run month. So we had their practice run on November 1st, and they had their official run on November 16th. And they are also doing a toy drive in conjunction with Webster PD as their impact project. So they've had quite a good turnout of toys donated for the Webster Police Department. And then this month in December, we had an author's visit. Ada Ari, who writes children's books, she came and did an interactive read aloud with our grade 2 class of her book, The Spider's Thin Legs, which is a retelling of the Anansi spider story. She also shared some African culture components, such as dress and instruments and such. So it was very well received. Grade 2 really enjoyed it. So in order to keep it small, we had it just with grade 2 because it is an interactive read aloud. So we wanted the kids to be able to have that full experience. We're doing some community and culture events around the school. Grade 2 had their Macy's Day Parade, which is always a fun event. They put out on their balloons and do a parade around the school with their character balloons. We also have some staff fun going on. We had Thanksgiving trivia where teachers could win our PAE lotto tickets, which are things like prime parking spots and free prep period. And this month we're doing musical bingo. So during announcements, we play some music, and as teachers win bingo, they win various prizes. The kids are very into it too. The bingo boards are on the front of the classroom, and the students are very into when their teachers win. We also have our community meetings ongoing monthly, which are hosted by a grade 4 class. And we also use that time to recognize our merit winners. So it is a time to bring the whole school together for community and recognition, as well as talent show. So the students get to put on a talent, and it's really amazing to see the 4th graders be willing to get up there in front of 780 students and do something that is a talent that they possess. And then finally, we have some upcoming events, which I gave you a schedule. We do have our play coming up on Monday. Wizard of Oz is going to be at 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. That is our advisors, Carrie Williams and Deb Castellani, have been working on that play. Our community meeting is on the 16th at 9 a.m., sponsored by Mrs. Boulet's 4th grade class. We also will be welcoming the middle school chorus to come. They come over and carol around the building for the students. On December 18th, we have our staff band, Polar Plunge, performing at lunches. So that consists of Mr. A, our dean, Matt Aronian, our assistant principal, Keith Goodyear, music teacher stands in sometimes, Jenna McDonald. We've had our front office secretary, Angie Bonilla, in the band. And we are also welcoming special guest Ben Gelino, who is a former Webster student, who will be performing as well. So you get a chance, come on by. They do it at lunch. The kids love it, watching the staff perform. And then we also have the high school carolers coming for us as well on the 19th, which is always a great way to end the year and send the students off with the high school performing. So, yeah, what's going on at Park Ave?
Great, thanks for the updates. Lots of great things happening. I'm excited about the play.
Yes.
That'll be fun. Any questions or comments from the committee?
Through the chair.
Member Millet?
I know we have started making cards for Valentine's Day, for Webster Manor, but I think it would, from my visits there are a lot of people who do not receive visitors there, and they love getting cards from the kids, so I was wondering if maybe we could do Christmas ones.
That might be a little tight of a turnaround.
I know,
I can
but-
certainly put it out to staff, and I'm sure, I mean, I'm always really impressed with the number of Valentine's cards that get produced. So I'm sure that students will be, teachers and students will be
They
more than
really
happy to
love that.
throw,
They
to,
do.
to
And knowing
spend some
it's
time.
from children, they really, really love it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I will certainly put that out to my staff.
I
Yeah.
know, I know.
That's an easy blast, and people jump right on board with that. So I'm sure, and I will let you know if we have some for pickup. Does that work?
Sure.
All right, great.
I wonder if that's an after-school program kind of thing too, right? I mean, that's something, it doesn't necessarily
Right.
impact
Right.
what's going on
Could
during the
be-
school day. but
Right, yeah,
there may
I
be
could
kids that are
connect with
looking to be
Lois.
Creative, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That'd be great.
Captive audience in the after-school program.
Absolutely. I'll also reach out to the art teacher at the middle school. Maybe they want to do something like that, an art class or something.
Our art teacher is just coming back from.
Yes.
So she might be a little overwhelmed to have a project already, or she might really be happy to have something to work on very quickly.
Well, this is a short one. It
Yeah,
doesn't take
yeah.
a lot.
Right, right.
You know, they get done with their work, maybe they can make a card.
Right, put some paper and art supplies out and
Yep.
let them go crazy. Yeah, thank you.
That was actually a project Girls on the Run did, maybe last year or the year before. They made things for some of the residents at the local nursing homes. And actually, my grandmother wound up with one of them, which was such a special thing to see her, She was very excited, so pretty neat stuff going on at Park Ave. Any other questions or comments from the committee for Ms. Poliafico? Well, thank you very much for coming and for all of the good work that y'all are doing.
Thank you.
Hopefully, we'll see you at some of these events coming up.
Yes, yep, we'll be there.
Thank you.
All right, well, moving right along, the next item on our agenda is an update from our student representative. It looks like he shared some thoughts with us, even though
He did.
this evening.
So I just want to point out a couple of things since we only have the one meeting, and he won't be here until after the first of the year. We had our 105th annual Thanksgiving game against Southbridge. I am happy to say that we were victorious. It was a great day for a game. It was beautiful out, and it was just wonderful to see the people there. So congratulations to the football team. They had a wonderful season. So I just wanted to give them a shout out. Leading up to the football game, we had our annual Thanksgiving pep rally in the gym. So that was nice to see the kids getting together and celebrating and get exciting for the game coming up. During the pep rally, we got to feature one of our teachers, Mr. John Busami. The student council had a turkey fundraiser to make the teacher having to wear a turkey costume, and that was Mr. John Busami who had it on. And he was the energy for the pep rally that day, walking around and getting students in the mood for an upcoming game. Just a few highlights and events I want to put out there for the high school. They have their breakfast with Santa and their holiday craft fair this Saturday morning coming up. So if anybody's interested in breakfast with the Grinch and the craft fair, please come on out. That'll be here at the high school. They're working on a robotics club for students who are interested in engineering. And they're working on a current Toys for Tots and sock drive. As you heard Mr. Carney, they have their annual holiday concert on December 18th here at the high school in the new auditorium. And I just wanted to put out there the Webster Middle School, their band is performing tomorrow night at 6 o'clock at the Webster Middle School. And lastly, last night they had the chemical health night at the high school. That was the first event that we had in the auditorium, and it was wonderful to see the turnout that we had. It was nice to see people sitting in the seats there for the event. And it's just great to be able to use the space. I didn't hear any negative comments. Anything that I heard was excitement and how beautiful the auditorium was. So we're excited to be using it. We're excited to be there, and it's nice to see the kids excited about the space also. And that's what I wanted to point out.
Great, well, thank you. Thank you for the updates, and
Thank
thanks,
you.
Eric, for putting them together for us. We look forward to seeing him in January.
Mhm.
The next item on the agenda under old business is a monthly report on fundraising applications. As a reminder, the role of the school committee is to review fundraising activities, but we don't approve them. Those are done those approvals are completed at the building level. I see two in our packet here. One is the Webster Middle School Band and Chorus Annual Chocolate Sales Fundraiser. The other is the softball team at the high school that are selling hot dogs and pizza at the basketball games. That'll be a moneymaker.
Yes.
Good deal. Any questions or comments from the committee about the fundraising activities?
I just want to thank them all for their work. They put in so much time doing this stuff, so I appreciate it, and it all goes to right back to our students.
Agree.
So,
Yeah, thank you. The next item on the agenda under new business is the FY25 SWCEC Annual Report.
hi, thank you. This is for your awareness. As I stated before, we need to clearly mark these things on our agendas for the school committee to know that they're being presented. This was presented to us at our Southern Worcester County Educational Collaborative, so I'm bringing it forward to you. It is the annual report of everything that went on at the collaborative at the end of last year. So I'm happy to say they're in good shape and they're doing a fantastic job.
Great. You need an
Oh,
acceptance, so it's not
nope.
our role to accept this, right?
Nope, it's just for your information. It's about keeping the committee informed.
Perfect, thank you. So the next item on the agenda is the financial audit for FY25 for the SWCEC.
Yep, and I'm happy to state that they are in good standing. They do a fantastic job with their financials. The collaborative is doing a great job. We had the auditor in. We were able to meet him, and he walked us through the report. So it's just a nice job.
Great.
Yep.
And the next item on the agenda is the Q1 report for FY26 for SWCEC.
Yep, and that moves us into this year. You'll see the Q1 report for the Southern Worcester County Collaborative. There's some information about their programming in there for the Q1. Talks about their finances and the districts that they service. So this is for your awareness.
Great, thank you. And moving on, the next item on our agenda is the Innovation Career Pathways Student Activity Account for Bartlett High School. It's a request to create that account.
Yeah, I'll take that one. The high school is looking to create a new student activities account specifically to support the career pathways. They're looking to use this as a way to support some of their future programming, events, and activities that they hold. So looking for school committee approval to create the new account.
Okay, any questions or comments from the committee? All right, well, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the creation of an Innovation Career Pathways Student Activity Account at Bartlett High School.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Desiree, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes.
Great, thank you. I think they'll be very happy because I think they're looking and hoping to be selling things this weekend at the event on Saturday.
Oh, that's great. Well, I
So-
can't wait to see
What they have.
they're selling and also
Exactly.
what they're going to do with the funds that they raise. I'm sure it'll be something exciting.
Yep.
So the next several items on our agenda are policy readings. And as Mrs. Perangeli pointed out recently, if we have feedback on these policies, we can certainly share that. If we don't have feedback, we can move from a second reading to a final reading in one setting. So I'm going to take these individually so that if there is any feedback or questions about these policies, we can deal with it. And if not, this will probably be fast.
Yep.
But I welcome any feedback, obviously. If
I just will note before you start, just to make awareness, we had conversation about the graduation language the last time, so that was amended and it's in red. So I just want to point that out. When you get to that, you can look at it and see if that is more in line with, is clearer for anybody who's looking at the requirements as we get to that, once we get to that one.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So the first policy is policy ADDA, background checks. Any questions or comments about that policy? So that will be our second and final reading of that policy. The next policy is policy ADC, tobacco products on school premises prohibited. Any questions or comments about that policy? That will be our second and final reading. Next is policy GBED, tobacco use on school property by staff members prohibited. Any questions or comments about that policy? That will be our second and final reading of that policy. The next item is policy IHAMB, teaching about alcohol, tobacco, and drugs. Questions or comments about that policy? That will be our second and final reading. The next policy is policy IHBEA, English Learner Education. Questions or comments about that policy? Hearing none, that will be the second and final reading. Policy IHBG, homeschooling. Any questions or comments about that policy? Hearing none, that will be our second and final reading. Next is, this says Exhibit IHBGE, home education process.
That was the form that just goes along
Oh,
with it.
perfect.
Yeah.
So that's the form that goes along with our homeschooling policy. Questions or comments about that? That will be our second and final reading on that. And our next policy is policy IHBH, Middle School Pathway Exploration Policy. Questions or comments about that one? Hearing none, that will be our second and final reading. Next is policy IKF, graduation requirements. This is the policy that there were questions and comments about previously. I'll open it up to the committee to either review or express any comments about the addition of the MCAS piece. This was edited since the last time we were here. Any questions or comments there? All right, I think it looks great. It incorporates what we need to incorporate, and you know, as our graduation requirements progress and we hear more
Absolutely.
webinars, this is subject
We'll be
to
back.
more updates.
Absolutely.
But with that being said, this will be our second and final reading of that updated policy at this time. The next policy is policy IKFE, competency determination. Questions or comments about that policy? Hearing none, this will be our second and final reading of that policy. And our next item on the agenda is.
Do we need to make a motion to approve all of them?
Oh, we do. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So if there is no discussion about any of these policies, I will entertain a motion to adopt all of these policies as presented.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second. Desiree, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
Yes. Motion
Thank you.
passes. And once again, thank you for all the work that you, Mrs. Perangeli, and the team are doing on these policies.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
The next item on the agenda is a donation of a gift card in the amount of $45 from Ocean State Job Lot to the Webster Middle School for holiday gifts. And this was donated by a former school family?
I believe so, yes. We don't have a name on it, so it was just a donation to the school.
Well, that's awfully
So,
nice.
Yes, absolutely.
Any questions or comments from the committee on this? How are we going to use this? We're going to purchase things and
Yep, for Christmas gifts for students. Yep.
we'll give them to, distribute them to students? Yep. Okay, great. If there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion to accept this donation as presented.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second. Desiree, would you please pull the committee?
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. And the next item on our agenda is the review, transfer, and signing of warrants, bills, payroll, and vouchers. But before we get into the signing piece, there is a transfer request in the amount of $3,234.96, and that'll be from the Park Ave Elementary Activity Savings Account to the checking account. Any questions about that? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve it.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second. Desiree, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
Yes, motion passes.
No, I mean, that was it. I tried to go through the whole, and put everything on my calendar, so it was. I know. That's all right.
We're also doing 2 dress rehearsals over there. So the kids are gonna.
Okay. I live
click
by
into
that
it and
admin. Because I put all the. That's fine. I mean, most of your stuff's on there. It's on there.
Oh, our big,
Yeah.
like not the calendar.
The ones that we all use, this, yeah, the list.
Excel sheet.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah. And it wasn't on there. It wasn't.
Because that was just
Yeah. I'm like, oh crap.
They like all of a sudden decided they want to break.
Yeah.
Because once they had sent the kids home, they'd all forget.
That's true. Thank you.
Fun fact.
Starting to get it down. As you do. Said it did.
Said it didn't, and mine doesn't. I have to go out there.
I didn't think, but
That's good. My husband can from Florida. Satellite. Yeah. I can't. Park now. To go outside and check. Lisa, did you do that transfer?
yeah, you got it.
Okay.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second. Desiree, would you please poll the committee?
Member Adamopoulos?
Yes.
Yes, meeting adjourned. Good night, everyone, and happy holidays. We won't be meeting again before the holidays.
Oh, yeah.
So happy holidays to all of you, and